Today's patient's a repeat offender, an Ampeg Micro CL base head. This was one of those spring cleaning kind of days, going back through the old projects and figuring out what was wrong with them. Unfortunately, this one's got a blown output section, on top of a blown output section and a blown output section. This was one of the first amplifiers I tried to repair, so not knowing what I know now, I had smoked several transistors trying to get this thing powered up for the first time. I think my original problem was just Q104 and one of the D600 transistors. However, after turning those on and properly installed, it smoked the rest of the output section. So I kept it around until today so I could take another stab at it. However, as much smoke got let out of this machine, I decided to just rebuild almost the entire circuit. Biggest problem right now, Q104, a D600 transistor, is shorted to chassis. Not good. And that short to chassis was my problem the entire time. That Q104 originally was isolated from the heatsink. Years ago, I never noticed that there should have been a mica insulator under my new parts because these ones had metal on the back of them. So once I got an insulator on that one, the components on the heatsink measured fine. However, because I had blown everything else up, I had to replace most of the driving transistors moving into that section as well. Because of the catastrophic nature of the failure and the fact that it's such a small circuit, I actually just went through and tested every component in the output section. Found 2 or 3 shorted transistors and several of the resistors in series with them. While I was testing out the transistors, I pulled up the data sheets, and that's where I realized this middle transistor should have been isolated from the heatsink, which it was not. I tested the complementary pair against its brethren on the heatsink, and they actually looked pretty good. So here I am testing everything that I need to see if there's any more shorts, and there were a couple like I had mentioned, but since I had tried and failed a few times on this one, I just needed to recheck every component. So anything that looked even a little bit suspicious, I popped out a circuit just to see if that was truly faulty. So after doing a few component swaps, we got everything working the way I expected with no shorts on the lines anymore. However, we decided to do a little sanity check and take the multimeter back out and just make sure we checked every component on that power board. There was certainly a lot of flux on this board, so the toothbrush got busted out so we could clean her up real nice. So probably about 15 years later, we got this sucker up and running again for the first time, so you get to hear me play some crappy bass. So now we have proof of life. I'm going to clean this up and give it a little refurbishment for myself. I'm keeping this one. Added some heat shrink tubing to these transistor legs so that they won't short out in the future. And these pots weren't working the best, so I decided to shoot a little deoxit D5 in there and clean them out real nice. They were pretty stuck and stiff from all the grime over the years, sitting in a basement. Just a little squiggle and a wiggle gets them running the way I want them. That's one more project off of my mind and working the way it should have been 15 years ago. Rock on, you know?